So gospel-powered, gospel-centered, gospel-focused. They make great book titles,
Yeah.
great ideologies, but oftentimes there's a lack in how that's applied. You wrote a book called Hidden in the Gospel, which gears on taking those themes and those ideals and really applying them in the life of the individual. How do we go from titling ourselves as gospel-centered to living as gospel-centered?
I think that's another great question. This is a matter of the power of the Holy Spirit. So there are lots of Christians that understand up in their head, they've heard a sermon or they've read a book, like Hidden in the Gospel or something, and they've picked up these ideas. But as long as they're just ideas in the head, they're not going to move a person that much. So what theologians call illumination is what's crucial. Illumination is God's Holy Spirit at work moving that information from the head to the heart. And when it hits the heart level, now I don't just understand. Take penal substitution, for example. I don't just understand that doctrine. I feel it. I feel myself in the middle of it. I feel the weight of my own sin. And I'm overwhelmed by the fact that God saved me. See, why me, God? Why would you do such a thing for me? This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. That's the difference between illumination and not having it. So you can go to seminary and understand the gospel, answer all the questions, even write papers on the gospel and lack illumination. And in our congregations, the crucial thing is illumination. When that happens, people start applying the gospel because they feel the gospel. They feel the gospel's applicability to them. And this is why I said earlier, I've transferred all trust from myself to God because I cannot accomplish that for people. That's impossible for me. That's a supernatural event that only God can do. One of the problems in the church is that we just assume that's taking place. And sometimes it is just taking place. But what I mean is we just assume if we go through the motions, it's going to automatically take place. And it doesn't. We need to have this desperate sense of dependency upon God. God, I need you. God, I'm nothing without you. Lord, my people need something that I cannot give them today. Lord, I can't give them this. And they need this from you. And unless you do this, all my efforts are a waste. God, move by the power of your Holy Spirit and do something more than just impart knowledge to the people today. Do this incredibly powerful work. That work is what causes us, motivates us, and moves us to begin preaching the gospel to ourselves. Because we've gone from just being a cognitive thing that I believe that, to being something that is felt and applied in my own life. And now my life orbits around that truth.
Oh. And what a great hope for both the pastor preaching that message and the Christian believing that. We see is in Romans 8 where it says the Holy Spirit testifies to us being children of God and crying out, Abba, Father, in our own hearts.
And that happens generally, it's like peeling the layers of an onion. For most people, it's a gradual process. Each time they hear the gospel, that goes just a little bit deeper. Each time they come into and hear a sermon and the gospel is discussed or they read a book on the subject, another layer gets peeled back and they see it just a little bit more. I heard an interesting story the other day about a guy he had been going to this church for some long period of time. And he'd heard the gospel discussed many, many times. And he'd always say, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree with that. That's right. And one day he said, I was listening to and all of a sudden that dawned on me that I was a sinner. And he said, I thought, well, whoa, that's not just right. Wow, I need this. I'm in desperate need of this. And he said that day everything changed. Well, how long had that guy sat in the pew before he said, it was God's time for him to see that and experience the application of it to his own life.